What's up, everybody? My name is TJ. I have the privilege and honor of working with the high school and middle school students at Vineyard Columbus, the Sawmill campus. And a couple weeks ago, me and Pastor Zach were on a Zoom call with a couple of the high school students, and we talked about making short 10-minute videos to encourage you guys during these troubling times. Before the coronavirus started affecting our everyday life, me and Pastor Zach had planned to talk to you guys about values. And you may say, hey, I don't know what a value is or what I value. And I would say whatever you pay attention to, whatever gives you meaning, whatever gives you purpose, that is probably what you value. You may value video games. You may value sports. You may value relationships with your parents. You may value relationships with your brothers or your sisters. You may value relationship with your friends. You know, during these troubling times of the coronavirus, I would like to kind of just really let us see what people are really valuing during these troubled times. The first thing that pops in mind that people are valuing during these troubled times is toilet paper. People are hoarding toilet paper. Still to this day, there's a lot of customers that are walking into stores that can't find toilet paper. People are valuing food. I was in a grocery store today, and they're putting a limit on customers of what they buy. You only can buy 2 of a product, so other customers will have the opportunity to get food themselves too. People also value money. What they work for, they want to keep. People are valuing their health. It's important to them. Not only for them not to get sick, but also for their loved ones not to get sick. People are valuing family. The people that they love, they want them close to them so they will know that they are all right. You know, Jesus had a lot of times where he was tested. He had a lot of times where it seemed like we didn't know how he was going to get out of the situation. But the most troubling time I think that Jesus had was in the Garden of Gethsemane, which you can read at your own time in Matthew chapter 26, verses 36 through 46. And in those verses, it says that Jesus felt sorrow, unimaginable sorrow. It said that he felt anguish, which means he felt anxiety and pain. The Gospel of Luke records that he was in such anguish that he actually started to sweat blood, which is a medical condition. It also said in Matthew chapter 26 that he felt alienated, not by choice. He didn't feel isolated by choice. He had his 12 disciples with him, but they kept falling asleep when Jesus was asking them to watch and pray. Jesus in his troubled times and in his time of desperation, what did he value the most? He didn't value the large crowds cheering him on. He didn't value proving the religious leaders of that time wrong. What he valued the most in that time was prayer. What prayer is just an open communication with God. It's where we can bring our requests to God. It's where we can offer thanks to God. It's where we can offer praise to God. It's where we can ask forgiveness from God. It's where we can ask for strength from God. It's where we can seek direction. It's also where we can listen to God. Let me ask you guys something. If Jesus, during his most troubled time, valued prayer, then why shouldn't we value prayer during our most troubled time, which is right now, during this coronavirus? I just want to give you 3 quick ways on how Jesus valued prayer. The first one is Jesus valued prayer by trusting God. To trust means is to have complete dependence upon God. You know, we trust a lot of things without us really knowing what we trust. We trust friends with secrets. You know, if you have a job, you trust your job to pay you. Then when you put your money in your bank, you trust the bank not to mess with your money. Why should we trust God, though? We should trust God because he never lies. We should trust God because he's faithful to his promises. You say, hold on, TJ. I've prayed for things and I haven't got what I asked from God. But see, God's faithfulness, what it does is God's faithfulness will tell you, hey, I'm not going to allow you to open door A because I want you to open door B. Because what's in door A will harm you. It will not make you the person I want you to be. But door B will prosper you. It will put you in my will and you will have all these blessings. That's what God's faithfulness is. It takes the same amount of energy to trust as it takes the same amount of energy to fear, to worry, and to be anxious. Let me tell you something. Trust is not developed when everything is going good. Trust is developed when things are starting to go south and when things are starting to go wrong. You don't establish trust in your comfort, but rather you establish trust in your discomfort. Trust is something that is built with time. So in order to value prayer like Jesus did, we have to learn how to trust God with time. Another way that Jesus valued prayer is he submitted to God. We have to learn how to submit to God. See, first, we talked about trust. Trust in God, and then we have to submit to God. You can't submit without first trusting. And what prayer is, it is a submission to God. Submission in prayer says, I relinquish my right to say what's best for me in my life. It's saying, you know what, not my will, God, but your will. How many battles have we lost because we're fighting battles that we weren't supposed to fight because we refuse to submit to God? Submission means to completely surrender everything to God. Everything to God. You notice that Jesus said multiple times in Matthew chapter 26, verses 36 through 46, not my will, but your will, God. He was trusting God and he was submitting to God. You know, I'm a huge wrestling fan. One of my favorite wrestlers used to be Bret the Hitman Hart. And he had his famous move, which was called the sharpshooter. It's a submission move where he would put people's legs around. The next time I see you, maybe you'll allow me to do that to you. But he puts people's legs behind their back and he puts all the pressure on their back. And if people submit and they basically quit because Bret Hart has locked this move in. Now, what are you saying? God wants to put me in a wrestling move? That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is when people submit to Bret Hart, what they're saying is, I quit. You win. You're the better person. You know the way. And that's the way we need to submit to God. We need to say, you know what, God? It's not my way. It's not my will. It's your will. We need to learn how to submit to God. So the first way to value prayer is by trusting God. The second way is by submitting to God. The third and final way to value prayer like Jesus is by walking in confidence. Confidence inspires courage to others to be greater than what they currently are. Confidence is like knockoff jewelry. Like a lot of people say they have confidence until they start going through something hard and you realize they had no confidence at all. What I mean by confidence is knockoff jewelry. Like literally, I can buy stuff from the dollar store that looks like the real stuff until you get up on my stuff that I bought from the dollar store. You say, that's really not real. That's how confidence is. Confidence is not confidence until it is tested. Let me ask you something. Do you have confidence? Let me ask you another question. If you have confidence, is it pointing to God or is it pointing to yourself? If it's pointing to yourself, that is not confidence. That is pride. You want to do your own will. You want to do your own thing. You want to figure your own way through life and not trust and submit to God. Look at verse 45 and verse 46 if you would have a chance. It says this. Jesus is saying, he says, look, the hour has come and the Son of Man is delivered into the hand of sinners. And you know what he said? He said, rise, let's go. And when he said that, it has exclamation points on it. Now, regularly when Jesus is talking like that with exclamation points, that means he's angry. He wasn't angry. But what he was confident. You notice that Jesus did not get up confidently because of his disciples saying, hey, yeah, Jesus, you can do this, you can do this. His disciples were asleep. Jesus was confident because he trusted God and he submitted to God. What I'm trying to say to you about confidence, young people, is sometimes you have to be confident without people backing you up, without people cheering you on. Confidence is not about how many Facebook friends you have. Confidence is not about how many likes you got on your latest Instagram post. Confidence is not about how many followers you have on Twitter or on TikTok. Confidence is complete trusting and submitting to God. Jesus wasn't confident in himself. He was confident in God. Jesus was always pointing to God. And the reason why Jesus was confident is because he knew that God never lies. He also knew that God never breaks his promises. And he knew that God is faithful. to fulfill his very word. So the way to value prayer, young people, I will tell you once again, number one is to trust God, to submit to God, and to walk in the confidence of God. I thank you. I pray that this message will fall on fertile ground. I hope to see you guys soon. Hope to catch you guys on a Zoom call, which we have every Friday at 5 o'clock on Friday nights. God bless you. We love you and we miss you.